Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Board of Health month of October's meeting, and we welcome everyone. Today, meeting will be recorded for public purposes, and so therefore, I am going to transition to Dr. Endred, who will chair the meeting for us today.
Thank you,
Dr. Endred.
Thank you, Dr. Montesor. Welcome, everyone. Let's start by approving the minutes from August 1st. Any objections, any amendments or edits?
No, we approve them as read.
Can I get a
Make a motion that we
make a
approve
motion,
them as read.
please?
Yes.
I second it, and they are approved. The meetings that we have hearing, R&K Food Mart. Mr. Duchette, you want to give us an introduction?
Yep. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairperson. So this item is a tobacco violation. This will be the second request for a hearing in the matter. That during a routine inspection of 25 June of this year, that powdered tobacco snuff was observed offered for sale. That this was the first offense within a 36-month period, which constitutes a $1,000 fine, which was assessed. I've worked with the proprietor of the establishment since that time to inform him of why that cannot be sold, and he has stopped carrying the product. He sent a letter requesting clemency to this board, which initiated this hearing.
And is there a representative here today?
I don't see that person present here. I spoke to him in person earlier in the week to alert him of this hearing. He acknowledged it, but I do not see him present.
And with that, what do you recommend?
I recommend that the violation be upheld, sir, as it has been at other establishments in the past.
Any questions?
And here he's been given the chance to show up the last couple times. I mean, all he's got to do is show up if he's got something to say.
So do we have a motion to allow for the fine to move forward and for us to move forward?
Yeah, I make a motion since it was already assessed to move forward with it since basically since he didn't come forward.
I second that motion and that passes. We move on to Olympic Market.
Yes, sir. So that also during a routine inspection of 19 March 2024, that flavored tobacco was observed offered for sale, not in its original packaging. Under CMR 665.030.
That was the volume.
The CMR speaks of any tobacco product offered for sale that is outside of its original manufacturer's packaging, that this constitutes an offense. This constituted the first offense for this proprietor within a 36-month period. A $1,000 fine was assessed. 3 times since that violation, the proprietor of that store has requested a hearing in front of this body. For various reasons, that person was not able to be present, but to my knowledge, I believe he is present today, and his name appears as Dominique Santos.
That's correct.
Mr. Santos, do you have comments you want to share?
Well, I don't have no comment. The comment I have, that's my pack cigarette. It's not the cigarette you found out for me. I don't sell cigarette. I respect my right. And I don't, my license that ties the spirit. And my license is spirit, I'm waiting to get another one. And before the city changed from the Board of Health to the building department. So I'm being back in front to renew the license. But that time I don't have no cigarette at all. And I have a 1-pack, my friends, I'm smoking. And I left the pack right on the top of the counter, and Mr. Doucette come in, and you see the pack got almost 3 or 4 in there. He told me I can't have it on the store. You have to give me the warning for that. So that's the only thing. It's nothing extra because I don't have nothing illegal to my store at all. Just the cigarette I'm smoking. And he found out with him on the top of the counter. He told me he's not supposed to be there. And I tell him, so I don't know that because I never know. I know the cigarette is banned for Brockton, Massachusetts. So I have my own cigarette. I don't have cigarette for sale. That's the time when you got the cigarette, that's the time. And on my pocket. So that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. Mr. Doucette, do you want to just kind of
I respect
address
that.
what you just heard?
Yep, so that during that inspection, I found 2 packages of flavored Newport menthol cigarettes below the counter in a
And you
wooden
find out
box.
1 box on the trash. And you find out 1 box on the top, and I got 6 or 5 that, and my ladder is inside. Yep. That's the one you have it. You have 1 is my ladder is inside the pack. And I think so 3. The one I'm finished smoking because outside, a lot of people left the trash outside. You find out the empty box on the trash, on the bag trash. Right there, in my front of my counter, Mr. Doucette. And you find out 1 on the top of the counter, and my ladder is inside, and I'm just smoking outside, Mr. Doucette, right?
Mr. Santos, I ask that you allow Mr. Doucette to complete his follow-up to your comments. Could you just please let me hear from him, please?
Sure, no problem.
Mr. Doucette, do you want to finish?
Yes, sir. 2 packages, which were both open, containing multiple flavored Newport cigarettes, were observed in a wooden box below the counter. Also present in that wooden box were many coins, change of quarters and various other enumerations, and single dollar bills.
And your interpretation of what you found is?
Correct, that those are loose flavored cigarettes offered for sales. And I might also add that during the conduct of my inspections, when violations are uncovered, in almost all instances whatsoever, a claim is made that that product is present for personal consumption.
So your recommendation is?
That the violation be upheld.
Mr. Fisk, do you have any questions?
Well, the question you have, he told
I'm
me that the
talking to
back counter.
Mr. Santos, I'm talking to Board Member Fisk, please.
Okay.
Mr. Santos, you say this was for your personal consumption that you had underneath?
Yeah, that's correctly. The chain he found out.
Why was the change in there too?
No, the chains, that's the chain I'm supposed to put in the box. The box is downstairs. That's all the chain I have. I have a box, empty box to put all the chain. He can't tell you that. The box in there, full chain. That's the chain that you turn to put in the bank, the machine. That's what I do. The box, you got all the chain in there. That's the chain I move on the cash register and put on the box to put on the box in the machine. That's the way I change my chain.
How many boxes
for the cigarettes
were open?
Guy.
How many boxes were open? How many cigarette boxes of the menthol?
I got only 1 box cigarette. I got 6 in there. I'm smoking. When I saw him, I know him so well for a long time in the city. All right. So I'm just smoking outside, and I just put over, and I'm going inside to meet up with them so nicely. So
Okay.
nothing. I go with them inside, and he check. I say, "Yeah, go check whatever." I always tell him, "Go ahead, doing whatever you want." I never doing nothing wrong when he come. That's the job. He doing his job to protect the city, to protect his people. It's no problem for that. Cooperate with them completely.
Thank you, Mr. Santos. Anything else, Mr. Fisk?
Yeah, I'm just trying to reach out to him a little bit, but I'd suggest then if that's for your personal consumption, I think you better keep it from out under the counter and away from the cash register.
Because he told me that to do that. Don't put in my package or left on my car. I tell him no problem. I'm not do that anymore. As I said to them.
Mr. Santos, so you understand the challenge here. This is a habit that we've seen in all kinds of other circumstances. I hear what you're saying, and we have to assume that in the midst of what Mr. Doucette's experience has been, that the appearances is that you've been doing something different than what we'd expect. And so we're I propose that we move forward with the fine as Mr. Doucette has recommended. Mr. Fisk, do you have any other questions, or do you have a second of that emotion?
I'll second the motion, unfortunately, and hope that he keeps his private stash someplace else than right under the counter there, and then he won't have this problem again.
Mr. Doucette, anything else to add?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay, Mr. Santos, do you understand what just happened?
Yes.
Do you have any other questions?
The question I want to move forward. That's all.
Okay, so you'll hear from Mr. Doucette and he'll give you instructions.
Yeah, you give me instruction. I'm not do it anymore. I'm not put my cigarette inside. I'm just put on my car. That's all.
That's a good decision.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm accepted.
It's the way to go.
Thank you. Unless you have anything else, you're welcome to sign off.
I just said nothing. I said to you, thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, Mr. Doucette, and thank you, and I appreciate it.
Have a good day, sir.
You
Bye
too.
now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is,
The next item is an inspection for an apartment that was declared unfit
150
for
human habitation,
Correct.
171 Colonel Belt Drive.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Is there someone to represent this?
Yes.
Yep, that the pastor on Tunde, the owner of the property, is present, sir.
Sir, is there anything you want to say here?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much I have my wife on phone too. I think she's just coming back from work, so she's on the road, so she's listening.
Yeah.
January 8th of this year, we got a letter from the city of Brockton that they intend to have a database of apartments that are being rented. We've been living in this house for the past 22 years. We bought the house 2002, November, and we moved in December of 2002. And we've been living in this house since then. Prior to moving into the house, when we bought it, we noticed that it has an in-law apartment that the former owner was renting out, and even the city of Brockton, they recognized that by bringing the trash can and the recycle bin, they brought two to the house, one for apartment one, the apartment downstairs, and one for my own apartment. And since then, we started renting the place out. In 2017, we stopped renting out because my wife said, oh, she would like to use that apartment for, maybe a business. And I said, okay. So we stopped renting the apartment. And then the pandemic came in. And then so when we got this letter in January 8th of this year, myself and my wife, we discussed and say, okay, I think it's better to just follow the procedure and just register the apartment, even though we are not renting it out as of that time, and even up to now. So I went online and did what they said we should do to register the apartment. And for the inspection to come, I paid the $100 requested. And so we were waiting for the inspector to come.
That's true.
The first inspection, the first inspection came May 13th of this year, when Mr. Doucette came to look at the apartment. So he looked at the apartment, then he left. And then on the 23rd of May, he came again. He looked, I think he came with somebody else. And he looked at the apartment again, and then he left. And I think he came the third time too. And so he left, and we did not hear anything from him since that time. So we felt that, I mean, for the city of Brockton to have the apartment inspected, at least they should follow up with a letter to let us know what is the status of the inspection. So we didn't hear anything, and so we decided to send an email to, I think, a couple of people that we found on the board of City of Brockton. So I sent that email on July 29th, when we did not hear anything from Mr. Doucette since May, when he came to inspect the apartment. So we sent a letter, and then somebody replied, the name is Syria Town, the admin board of health. So she said she had forwarded the email I sent to Mr. Doucette. And so I think after she forwarded that email, Mr. Doucette came again to the house, making it the fourth time or so. And then he left again. So again, we waited with the hope that we will hear something from Mr. Doucette. Only for him to now send us an email after I wrote again that we've not heard from him. He now wrote an email. He sent us a letter dated July 31st of this year that, the apartment field inspection, all occupants are hereby ordered to vacate the dwelling. Unfortunately, there is no occupant there. It's my house. My daughter lives there occasionally. She goes down there to sleep. Occasionally, I go down there to sleep if I want to have privacy. So that apartment is not being rented at all. So within this letter that was sent to us, said we have 7 days to appeal. And we did appeal, and I sent the appeal letter. In fact, I took it there personally on my own on August 5th of this year, that we appeal the characterization of the apartment by Mr. Doucette, because he said, no egress. And I said, that is not right, because there is egress, and all the windows, they are full egress that is removable, So when he said the apartment failed because there are no egress, I said, no, that's not right. So I now wrote again that when I signed the appeal letter, I took it there to Brockton. Somebody acknowledged it. And I now followed up by calling Mr. Doucette whether he has received that letter. And he said, yes, he has received it, that he has sent it to maybe the appropriate quarters. But again, for weeks, we did not hear anything. So we were forced to write again that in your appeal letter, you said we should appeal within 7 days. We did that. Up till September 23rd, we did not hear anything again. So I have to again email the original people that I sent email to, and again Sierra Town responded that she has forwarded my email to Mr. Doucette again. They are now responded to Sierra Town that why is it that it has to be Mr. Doucette that we have to talk to? He came, he did what he's supposed to do. We responded, we did not hear anything from him. There should be somebody else we have to be able to talk to based on the letter we received and based on our reply. And then she responded to me that, oh, it has to be Mr. Doucette that we have to talk to. And for me, it's a surprise to me because since we sent our appeal to him and he did not respond. So I was wondering why he has to be the person we have to respond to. Anyway, to cut the long story short, on that day, that was September 26th, when Sierra Town forwarded the second email to Mr. Doucette. Mr. Doucette now sent this meeting email to me that, hey, we are expected to attend this meeting today. I said, okay, no problem, we'll attend. Now, yesterday, Mr. Doucette called me that he wanted to come and measure the window again. I don't have problem with that. I said, okay, no problem. But I told him, I sent him an email overnight that I have to be at work today. That's coming to do whatever I wanted to do. He will not be able to do it because I will not be available. And so, but to my surprise, Mr. Doucette came to my house without nobody there today because the camera caught him, you know. So I'm really surprised that he has to come when I had already told you that I will not be at home. Why do you have to come when there's nobody in the house? So that's my case. I don't know if my wife, maybe she wants to add anything.
Ma'am, would you like to add anything? Mr. Doucette, do you have any response to what you just heard?
Yes, sir. So, logistically, much of what was said is accurate, that the Pastor Tunde, he was responding to our request that he enroll in the rental unit registry and obtain a inspection for what we call certificate of fitness, which means that the apartment is habitable. And that process did play out earlier in the year. I made an initial inspection in which I discovered there were some things that were problematic about the apartment. The main thing being the size of the windows in the bedroom, that to my knowledge and experience, they did not fit the size necessary to constitute secondary egress in the case of fire. So that in response to that, I requested that George DePina, who is the Chief of Inspectional Services for the City of Brockton, he's present here today, accompany me on a re-inspection, as he is also a building inspector. And indeed, although he does not inhabit the position, he is qualified to be a building commissioner in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so that he could evaluate the size of the window. That did take place at a later date subsequent to the original inspection. We evaluated the size of the windows. Chief DePina said that he would take it under advisement. And subsequent to that time, he notified me that my original observations were true, that the window did not meet the minimum standards for secondary egress. I met with the pastor in a third inspection so we could measure the window, and I confirmed to him that it was true, that it did not meet the qualifications. Subsequent to that, on the 31st of July, I issued an order via email and regular and certified mail that the basement apartment is unfit for habitability. That was under the basis that under CMR 410, 630, that the windows in the bedroom do not meet the qualifications to constitute secondary egress.
Is there anything that you would like to add, Mr. DePina?
Yes, I would also like to, good afternoon, board, by the way. I'm George DePina, Chief of Inspection Services for the city of Brockton. I'm also a licensed building commissioner as well as a licensed building inspector in the state of Massachusetts. I visited the apartment with Mr. Doucette, and I can basically say with certainty that the windows do not qualify under the Mass 780 CMR 9th edition code book for egress windows within a basement. The reason why Mr. Doucette was going to the pastor's house was we were trying to mediate and give him resolution to the problem rather than him go seek an appeal process. We're trying to take care of it in-house. So he aggressively tried to work with the pastor. That's why he showed up there and made the phone calls towards the end of this effort. Under the Mass 780 CMR, the windows can only be it has to be a minimum 5.7 square feet of glazing area. That means the glass. So it doesn't include any sashes, any interruptions within that glass plane. The biggest issue that the pastor has mentioned is that he says the windows can be disabled or pulled down in a certain way. That's not what the code book says. It has the openability, the window must be openable from the inside without any use of tools or special knowledge. So that means that it doesn't have to have a trick to open a window, like undo the lashes and pull it down. It has to be strict glazing area. So the fire department can break it and enter the building within the confines of their gear and everything else. The other thing to it, I believe, is higher than 44 inches off the ground. So if I'm standing in the unit, I have to have a maximum of 44 inches from the finished floor. That means if an older gentleman or somebody disabled has to be able to climb up and evacuate through the window. I'd like to also say that we have nowhere in our database that basement unit has ever been recognized as an in-law apartment. Up until August of this year, the state of Massachusetts, as well as the city of Brockton, we weren't recognizing ADUs, which is accessory dwelling units on the property. That has now changed, and we can go forward with trying to make him into compliance with the new ADU regulations. But that particular unit was now recognized by the city of Brockton. Now, it could have been used as an in-law apartment, recognized by MLS, selling it as an in-law apartment, even being recognized as a city through other departments, as in the taxes or the sanitation, as an in-law apartment. But we are the governing board that decides what buildings are what legal uses. And we had that building as listed as a single family use. It's a raised ranch. And if you guys are familiar with a raised ranch, it has a walk-in basement, and they turned it into an apartment before the pastor's time. I'm not insinuating the fact that he did it himself, but somewhere down the line, someone turned that into an apartment and they used it as such.
Thank you. I understand. And Pastor, are you saying that you're not planning to use this as anything other than part of your home? Are you still considering renting it?
Yes. So for good maybe 5-6 years we were not renting it, but this year when we saw this notice from City of Brockton, myself and my wife, we had a discussion that okay, let's just go ahead and just make sure that the apartment is registered within the database, and that's why we started the process of paying that thing, with the hope that maybe in future it may be possible for us to rent it out if we want to. And so definitely it's possible that in future we may want to rent it out. That's why we went ahead with this process.
Do you understand what Mr. DePina just described and what you would need to do to move in that direction?
No, I don't, unless they want to, Mr. DePina want to give me full explanation or how to go about that.
Well, I don't think that's a good use of this discussion here. There may be an opportunity for another visit to your home to be clear and specific about that. I don't want to obligate anybody doing anything other than Mr. Doucette and you engaging Mr. DePina or anyone else that you see fit. Ultimately, there may be more opportunity for you to understand exactly what needs to happen to be adapted and changed to allow for that to happen. But at this moment, you're, as I'm hearing Mr. DePina and Mr. Doucette say, you're not able to register this as an apartment until you make some changes with windows and perhaps other things.
Yeah, I can contact them after this meeting, and then they can come and give their explanation on what we have to do to make it rentable. And then I too, I will be able to show them what I was telling Mr. Doucette yesterday, that all the windows, they are full egress. So
well, again, what I'm wanting to clarify what Mr. DePina said is that while you may have some understanding of what you think is egress from the regulations of the city and what the fire department needs, it doesn't meet that standard. And so
okay.
the concern is that you want to have ultimately safety to be able to make sure in an emergency all the necessary actions could be taken. And that's that from the expert, Mr. DePina perspective, that it doesn't fit that standard. So again, Mr. Doucette, you can communicate offline of this meeting to consider whether a follow-up is possible and how and when that can happen.
Yes, sir. I think that, as Chief DePina said, that we can guide the pastor into compliance to make it a legal unit. However, I would only add that during the confines of these proceedings, the pastor said periodically himself or maybe his daughter might take an occasion to sleep in the basement for one reason or another. This safety standard applies to whether the unit is being rented or not. That unit is not safe currently to be dwelled in, and we take the meaning of dwelling to be sleeping and or spending the majority of one's time. So please, whether or not we're engaging in renting the unit for the time being until we can bring it into compliance, Pastor, please cease from dwelling or sleeping in the unit.
Thanks for
Okay.
that clarification. Your wife is
Yeah,
seeming
she's
to want to
raising
ask
up
a
her hand.
question.
Yeah. Tinu, you are raising up your hand.
Yeah, would you unmute, please, ma'am?
Please unmute your phone.
Hello, I just also wanted to clarify. So apart from the windows, the apartment has 2 doors. Does that make a difference?
No, the doors aren't what we're talking about. In an emergency with a fire, there's all kinds of challenges that may be necessary, and the fire department needs to be able to move through the windows if they need to, not just to exit the building, but to vent the fire or any number of other things. I don't want to overspeak because I'm not the expert, but ultimately, it's not about the doors, it's about the windows.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Anything else, Mr. Doucette?
No
That's
other
it.
thing. I'll be in contact with Pastor Tunde to help him make contact with Chief DePina, and so we can begin the process.
Thank you so much.
Anything else, Pastor?
No, I just want to appreciate the board, and I want to thank Mr. Doucette and Mr. DePina agreeing that they will be able to meet with me to explain what we have to do to make that place habitable. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy we could help you. If we're finished here, you're welcome to sign off, you and your wife.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. And Mr. DePina, thank you. Mr. Doucette, do we have any other business?
No other business this month, sir, but I'm certain that we'll meet in the near future.
Have a good evening, sir.
You
too,
well.
Mr.
Thank you, Lord.
DePina.
Thank you.
Good day.
Thank you.
So, we have issues around vaccination changes, issues around for COVID vaccination. We have issues of other vaccination, triple E, TB cases. I wanna, in the midst of all of these other agenda items, Dr. Masor, I question, given what we've discovered in the past several days, whether this is, should we go through these items or should we table them until we have other information? Mr. Fisk, the consideration recognizing that in the past week, we've discovered that we have seemingly a Board of Health and Human Services that is operating in the midst of this board's action. The question of the kind of binary elements of these things going forward needs to be clarified, and there's a consideration of having some discussions offline with the state's board of Association of Health Boards to consider whether we're operating as we should be, and how that and what the assumed existence of a Department of Health and Human Services for Brockton is in conflict with our operation.
I certainly go along with that because, you know, we've been kind of in limbo here for quite a few months trying to figure out what is happening.
Yeah, Wadeze, I want to just kind of, so you hear this, I mean, in a sense, there's the lack of communication with the board has at best been frustrating. This leaves us somewhat in the dark. So I'm not sure this is a good use of time until we have some clarity.
Sorry,
anything-
can you, I guess, give a little background about the Department of Health and Human Services and this, I guess, seeming conflict?
Well, the fact that there seemingly is a Department of Health and Human Services where there never was one, and that it happened, it came to my attention when I got an outside question about an ordinance that had been put forward that included the actions of the Department of Health and Human Services. It's the first that I ever heard. We knew that that was a consideration, but that's as far as I had heard. I don't know if Mr. Fisk, you had heard anything.
I heard a little bit.
And my understanding is Dr. Montesor had heard nothing either. So all of this is news to all of us. And so I've had some consultations with the state's Association for Health Boards, and we plan to have a meeting tomorrow just for some preliminary discussion to kind of gather information. I think Mr. Fisk, you've in past meetings met lawyer Cheryl Sabaro, who is the executive director of the Mass Board of Boards of Health, and their chief legal advisor. So she's pretty up on this, and she has heard some of these whisperings, but when I brought it to her attention, she suggested that we have a meeting to discuss what we know, what she knows, and perhaps how we might move forward.
We've got to do something too, and probably get the mayor in on it to find
Well,
out what.
I've actually. I'm sorry,
certainly two people, yourself and myself, does not make up a board.
No, I mean, that was.
We've got to do better than this.
I've been reaching out to the mayor multiple times to say that we should find ways to engage Ms. McCullough and another. We have at least 3 candidates that are willing and able and qualified to meet the need. I haven't got responses from the mayor. So again, there's been a lack of communication that has unfortunately been frustrating. So I can't answer your question, Wadeze, and hopefully once we have that meeting tomorrow, that includes a member of the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, because of some of the other ordinances that the Health and Human Services has put forward that could put the city at legal risk.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could just interrupt, should we call this an administrative session and put it on remove the recording?
Yeah, I guess that is best, but at the same time, I don't have any problem letting the public hear this either. But either way, let's adjourn this Board of Health meeting and ask that the public be excused from the Board of Health, the scheduled Board of Health meeting, and we can take a couple more minutes to have a closed session. That is not part of the board meeting.
I make a motion that we do that.
Okay, Mr. Simmons? I thought he gave me the authority or the power to unmute, to lead, but I cannot unmute. Not unmute, but remove the recording.
Yeah, you're not able to go to the top left corner and say stop recording?
I click on it, it doesn't budge.
And you can't hear Mr.
Simmons. Mr. Simmons? Or any other staff at BCA, please? I'm not reaching anyone there.
I'm typing a note into the chat to him. Justina, I forgot you were in the same room.
Record. Oh, record. We can't record. We can't stop recording. Could I just see your mouse for a moment? There should be both. We can't close it. No. We can't stop recording. We don't have the power.
Okay, I'm fine with that. For briefly, so Wadeza, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm all right.
So
I've seen those ordinances as well, though.
Yeah, around encampment, around needle exchange and disposal, and the ARPA funds that are supposed to be going for addiction services in the hands of the police department. All concerning issues that we've been in a sense closed out of. So I can guess for us, Mr. Fisk, I can circle back to you as soon as I have any information. This wouldn't be a board meeting, it would just be sharing information learned about our board position. I can share the Outlook Zoom meeting if you're interested in joining. I know you have a full day. It's going to be in the middle of the day. But either way, once we start gathering better information and get in communication with the mayor and related city council members that are engaged in this department or so-called Department of Health and Human Services that is engaging inspection services for public health issues. we can move from there.
I go along with that, yeah. And of course, you can just call me personally anyway.
Yeah.
Any information that you got, that's no problem, Craig, yeah.
Great, thank you. Anything, Mr. Montesor? Dr. Montesor?
No, except to say that our next meeting is scheduled for November 7, Thursday, November 7.
We don't have one in, oh, this is October. All right, by then I will have recovered from total knee replacement and will be sitting up again.
Oh, okay. Well, we wish you all the best in the meantime.
Yeah, age happens. In the meantime, everyone take good care.
Thank
Take
you
care
so
now.
much.
Bye.
Thank you for attending.
Bye now.